Hold on. You sound a little upset. You mad, huh? My crew too fresh. You mad, huh? See us flexing in these streets. You mad, huh? Diversity of thought. You mad, huh? Educated black men. You mad, huh? Philly won the Super Bowl. You mad, huh? Dallas blew 60 mil. You mad, huh? Aggie pride in your face. You mad, huh? 5 newts in this group. You mad, huh? Welcome to You Mad, Huh? The podcast conceived out of brotherhood and presented with love. I want to welcome everyone to our 13th episode. We have our full, almost our full set of regular panelists this week. We're missing Raymond Cooper, but we have Ken Merritt. We have Richard Free. We have Tyron Bond and Anthony Humphrey. Again, fresh off the baseball diamond. Looked like it didn't go that well. He's got a little rough look on his face, but I'm sure he's happy to be on the podcast. So with this episode, we're going to continue with our panelist questions. We had a great time in our last episode. We had a couple of guest members on, and the premise of this is it's called What Up Though? So each panelist gets to ask a question that they want to ask everyone. Most weeks, we have a specific topic that's kind of determined by myself mostly as to what we're going to cover in the end. But this time, we want to go off the cuff with our members. And Ken was able to ask this question last week. I was able to ask Bond as well. And this could be anything that's on our panelists' minds. So we are going to let's start with our member that's back this week, Mr. Richard Free, looking very distinguished with the glasses. All right, so Rich, what's your question for the panelists, man?
I'm gonna change course a little bit on these guys, and oh man, just great to be back. Thanks to my brother that held the fort down for me, even though he's so liberal that he would vote for a tree if it gave out free hugs. All right,
oh so anyway, my gosh.
My question for the guys, since we talk a lot about inequalities, what are the most effective ways to address systemic inequalities in education and economic opportunities for the Black community in 2025?
Repeating, por favor.
Yeah, I was going to say, repeat that, Rich. You got a little deep on us.
What are the most effective ways to address systemic inequalities in education and economic opportunities for the Black community in 2025? Now, you will be graded on your answers, so take your time, gentlemen.
This would have been nice to have some time to prepare for. That's a good question. Not a one-off. That's a real question.
Well, since you're in deliberation, I'm gonna go to Ken first.
Yeah, that's cool. I ain't scared. So it comes down to time, talent, and treasure, right? Which at the end of the day, Rich, I think you have expressed your kind of points of view on DEI, right? In many ways to be something that you didn't support, yet most DEI programs kind of focused in on putting more time in underserved communities to try to close inequality gaps, right? Especially in education and professional development and getting people to grow, right? So that includes sending people who understand this and can help and can mentor and coach and really, help people move forward in schools, in colleges, and even in companies and orgs where people who are underserved and on the wrong side of the inequities are, right? So first is time. The second one is talent, right? Too many times our people don't get the best folks spending time in those communities because they don't have the support, money, and all those kind of things. And so finding the talent and the right leaders and the right type of support with all the capabilities necessary to go into our communities, into our schools, into our boys and girl clubs, into our, even for those of us who are looking for jobs, who are, trying to take the next step, could still use the support of those who kind of are on the other side of that, who can be mentor, give guidance, and et cetera to them. And then the last one is treasure. Money always matters, right? And a lot of times in companies, from a like DEI perspective, one of the things that we knew is that companies often, when they gave back to community service, tended to give to the communities they came from. And so if you didn't come from an underserved market, then the money wasn't going back into those spaces. And so to the extent that we can find money, and that from public, private, not-for-profit, whatever, back into our communities, we should, and we would expect to see those inequities decrease.
Okay.
Let me answer real quick behind that, because I wish I could have one of my private brothers on here to speak, and because I think Rich would like him. He's kind of leans the other way, but he's real big into dealing with inequities of our people, and just especially when it comes down to education. And he posted the other day with, I'll get the article and send it to you, Rich. Well,
Okay.
It was a very nice article about a young man, principal, who kind of did what Ken's talking about, used his own time, money, reached out to different companies. And one thing that he did was, in his communities, he offered after school programs, in community centers at night, so the children had somewhere to go. Because we all grew up in that, that time where idle time leads to a lot of things. But the impact that those after school programs had on the grades, the confidence, the mental wellness of those kids, because we all know a lot of times after school we take it for granted, but some folks, the meals come from school. After that, they go home and it's a whole nother world. Many don't want to go home. We all with the A&T college campuses. I didn't learn until the pandemic. Some folks couldn't go home because that's where they ate. But I'll say all this to say is providing, those spaces for them to stay busy, whether it's academically, athletically, and from a mental health perspective. After they get out of school, to help with the homework, the mentorship. I think those are the things that will help give them that confidence and that exposure to that can impact them going forward.
Okay.
So I'll chime in, and I think Ty and Ken both hit on some very key points, but I think everything that we discussed thus far is kind of the execution piece. I think there's a big hurdle that we had to overcome before we even get there, and that's there has to be a way to break through the barrier of having it be an adversarial type of conversation. And I think that happens, but one is sometimes it's ignorance and sometimes it's acknowledgement and not wanting to concede because it may impact the person making the decision. But I think the biggest thing we need to understand is, let's get a series of educational sessions, whether they be many conferences, whether they be many seminars, but you have to have some level of direct comparison to remove the myth that DEI is in place because folks are less than. And it's been proven throughout time when given the opportunity, many of the disenfranchised have been able to succeed. But until you have a documented, regimented type of approach to, hey, let's take all that crap off the table. Let's remove that conversation. And now that being gone, we can really start to focus in on the things that Todd and Ken have talked about. And that's putting the time in, that's putting the programs in place that we know are going to help not just balance the playing field, but also enhance the collective whole. I think we just get caught and lost so many times on the conversation, the adversarial conversation, to the point that we never get to the meat of the execution of doing us right. Even though there's proof points out there left and right that we could reference, it still becomes a message of how do I want to spend this and how is it going to impact me? And once we remove that off the table, I think you start to have more of a understanding of why it's important, how it makes a difference. And I give an example. In a couple of roles that I played, I had to sit on some panels where we talked about supplier diversity and why it was important. And a lot of times the first thing was, well, we'll bring them on, but we know that they're not going to make a quality product. We'll bring them on, but we know they can't reach our capacity. We'll bring them on because it's the right thing to do. Well, you're starting well with the right thing to do, but let me also show you the proof points around how they've been successful with other customers. Let me show you the proof points around how they've been able to grow once they've had access to capital. Let me show you the success points they had around supplier development that got them to equal, if not superior to our incumbent suppliers that we have. So again, you have to get the education piece of removing that obstacle around, well, we're going to do it because we have to. No, you're going to do it because it's the right thing to do. And here's why it's the right thing to do. And I think that's the biggest hurdle that we have to overcome before we start executing.
So I'm hearing in that DEI not only on the individual level, but also on the business opportunity level. Am I understanding that right?
It's across the board. It's education. I mean, you can't. I don't believe that you can go in and say you must do this without expecting a fight, unless you can absolutely have everyone on the same page around why you're doing it. Right? That could be education. That could be business. That could be, general society. But we are by nature combative on things that could possibly adversely affect us. Right.
And this is my thing, gentlemen. I don't think anybody is against opportunity. I think people are against when there's a set cookie cutter setup. I could even use the Trump administration example where they put people in positions, but some of those guys worked for them before anybody wanted to be with them. But I'll go back. What I'm trying to say is, when Biden said he was looking for a Supreme Court justice, he didn't say I'm looking for the best one. He said I'm going to get me a black one. That's why people had an issue with it. Now, if that's what he intended to do, he could have kept his mouth shut and just did it. But when you say I'm going to get a black one, that automatically cuts out the opportunity for Asian, white, Hispanic, whatever it may be. And that's where people say, hold on. You have just, and you're rolling your eyes. Don't do that, man. I know it's already been a hard day at the baseball field, but I'm just saying there's a reason why people have resistance to DEI.
Yeah, the resistance, though, Rich, is, and I was about to give you credit for asking your question, because the first thing you have to do if you want to address inequity is acknowledge that there's inequity, right? And like in the whole point, and I love your example of going to Biden declaring from the start he was going to put a black woman on the Supreme Court. That was a equity play, right? Because how in the world can we pretend that we have equity, or excuse me, that we don't have inequity as it relates to black women, but then not want to do anything about it, right? You ask what can be done, and in that case, He told you what he could do by putting the person in the seat.
And
A
let me add
qualified
on to
person in the
that
seat.
too.
A
Rich,
qualified
Rich,
Yeah,
Rich
qualified.
was she the only person considered?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know.
You don't no, she wasn't. And her merits that she had as a judge, as a professional, is what carried her to the top and what got her the appointment. She wasn't the only one that was out there. And even if he had, to your point, he probably should have kept his mouth shut. But even if he had that in the back of his head, I think the proof points came through that she was the right person for the nomination. So
Okay.
But I challenge the notion a little bit, hump around keeping his mouth shut too. I know you didn't say that, but
intentional.
you can't ask the question you asked, Rich, and then not like the answer. If you acknowledge there's inequity, then we have to have equity plays to close the inequity, right?
You have to be intentional.
You have to be
There's no doubt about
intentional.
it. There's no doubt
Exactly.
you have to be intentional.
If you acknowledge that our educational system is behind where it should be, then the flip side has to be true, that we need something to close the gap. That is not, it's already unequal. So do the same thing you're doing for everybody else. It never closes the gap.
Okay. So
right.
I guess in my asking the questions, it gave you the pause to think that I am on the fence of there's these humongous inequalities. I was hoping that you guys would also come forward with the concern of our culture, the concern of how our culture, I've gotten to the point where there's a portion of our culture that I know can't be helped because you can't tell them anything. There's a portion that won't allow themselves to be helped, is what I was at. I was wondering if any of you all would acknowledge that, because some of the stuff that's going on wasn't going on when you and I were in the race, in the early part of the race, chasing the carrot. There's a high level of falling away from what was the standard to strive for better. We've raced to the bottom of the barrel in a large portion within our culture. And you might not want to acknowledge it, but I mean, when you go out and about, you'll see that group and you'll say, dang. So, and you know they can't be talked to. You know there's portions that can't be helped. There's portions
to the bottom of the barrel. Is that what you said?
Yes. Yeah, I said that. I mean, listen, I know that every time I speak on stuff, it puts you guys in a state of shock. But I think part of, when they say you have a problem, the first step is acknowledging it. Acknowledging there's portions that just aren't going to allow themselves to be helped.
What is your what are your standards for the best person for Supreme Court justice, right? There's a lot of things that go into that, and I'm a little offended that you feel like that you're making it seem like she was not qualified and she just got it because she was a Black woman. I don't think that's the case. A lot of people in Trump's administration got things simply because he likes them.
Exactly.
So
the underlying there, P, just to add to your point, you kill me with this whole notion that somehow before that the most qualified people were getting the opportunities. That's never been that way. It's always been a bias towards white men in this
good old boys network.
Exactly. Come on, man.
So Rich, what was your question one more time? Oh, you're on mute. Let me unmute you. Yeah, because you were talking. I'm gonna have to be. I'm gonna start mute y'all.
I don't disagree with what you guys are saying, and I can see where you might be questioning how I arrived at my assessment, but you're right. There have been biases in selecting people. I just don't believe that she would be the best. I believe there's probably better Black women than her that could have gotten that role. If you're saying to me that the highest court in the land, that the one woman that would be on board with a liberal mindset couldn't define what a woman was, if you're telling me that that is the best option, then we can't even have a discussion.
Rich,
I agree too.
on this
It
show,
was
there
a
are
bad
no bad
question.
questions.
It was
It
a
was
good
not.
question.
Hey,
Yeah,
look,
there are no bad. So ask the question again, Rich.
what are the most effective ways to address systemic inequalities in education and economic opportunities for the Black community in 2025?
Okay, so let me give my response to that. I think everyone else kind of gave their primary response. So one thing that could help us address that has just recently been taken away, and that's money for the education system, the public schools. Most African American students in this country attend public schools, and I think right now North Carolina is going to have a shortfall over $100 million, I believe, something to that tune. So taking federal funds away from our students is definitely not going to help that. So we've got to supplement that somehow. So one thing hopefully we can do as a group here on our podcast is I'm looking at each of us trying to, since the younger people are into social media and reels and social media posts, start posting some gems on how people can turn their life in terms of education in a positive direction. For maybe my perspective, a kid that wasn't really into school, how do you start getting interested in school? Or from you guys that were actually in school, what are some resources to help you get opportunities as a student? So we as a group, individually, college graduates, we have to start putting that effort forth. And it may not always be through a formal channel. It may be something that's informal, because I find that the kids that are in the formal channels, they have that support. So we've got to start getting kids that aren't in that channel. Now, another thing I've seen lately is a big push towards blue collar, trade schools. That's fine. I think we still need to get our kids on a college path if possible. Now, the problem with that is, again, the ability to take out loans is getting more difficult for college, and with college now, an inexpensive college is, $10,000 a semester, right? So you're talking $20,000 a year, and they're capping how much a student can borrow now per year. So those things are becoming more difficult. So we have to figure out ways for these young people to get resources to be able to further their lives, because now a kid that is in a tough economic position is going to have an even tougher time trying to pull themselves up by their bootstraps, as they say. So I think we need to, at a grassroots level, we need to start trying to figure out how these kids can continue to get opportunities as we did before. So that's a couple of things I think we need to do, is just as people in general, smaller groups have to focus on trying to get information out and try to get opportunities out. So that's what I think. That's what I think we can do.
That's good stuff. Let me ask this as a follow-up to you. With the ever-changing landscape due to technology and how robotics are about to replace a lot of people within the workforce, what do we do strategically to be ahead of that transition? Because it might not be a need to go get a college degree. It might be some other.
Well, in my opinion, that's what they say, but they wouldn't make it so hard to get it if it wasn't important.
Well, the biggest thing is creating options. I mean, I think that's what it comes down to. You don't know what you know until you know it. And so if you give them options, let them know what's possible, then you can start from there. But in many cases in our community, they don't even know what's out there.
Access to information to create the opportunities.
Yeah, right. Correct.
That's it.
And I will say that those options for a lot of these kids that are running around trying to be rappers and not doing anything, you definitely should, that if you're a parent, you should try to get your kid interested in something, because maybe they're not a school kid, they're not into school. But either way, you're gonna have to learn. So I hear so many people talk about school is not, my kid, school is not for my kid. Well, they're gonna have to be able to learn one way or the other. Any job that they work, any field that they go into, the only way to be successful is to continue to learn in that profession. And that's what I think school can help you do. It can help you understand that everything that you need to learn is not going to be something that you enjoy, but sometimes you just have to put the effort in. So I'm fully behind the educational system, and even if you don't go to college, just developing your mind in the educational system. And that's why I think we need a strong public education system. But I think it's going to be harder going forward.
That's it. Do you agree? That's even if we think outside the box in how we, versus what we came up under.
For example, when you say think outside the box.
Well, I saw an article the other day that there was this private school where the students, they have interaction with, adults, but they're on modules until it's, physical activities. But they're on these AI modules, and they're scoring, their testing is like going through the roof. So, I mean, I know that'll probably because you won't need as many teachers, but then again, I guess you will need people in the classroom to make sure that the students are following the modules and to assist whenever they're not getting it. But it just the way they laid it out, they made it seem that it was the way of the future, and that they were having a lot of success with it.
Are you referring to the school in Texas?
I can't remember where it was. I can't remember.
So yeah, I saw an article about that with the private school in Texas. It's a private school, and they had small classes. Not to say that wouldn't work. Who knows? It might work. Anything.
It comes down to this again, right?
Well, you got to have funds, and our schools have less funds now. That's for sure. So,
but you're tapping into the different ways that people in general, not just kids, but how people learn. And part of that experience is making sure you connect with what resonates with the person who's trying to learn. Some people are on the job training. Some folks can read a paragraph and spit it back to you for what it was. But again, you come back to that piece around how do you get to understand that? There has to be some level of understanding that there's different ways of educating. There has to be some level of assessing the talent. And then there has to be money to make sure that it comes back to 3 T's that Ken put out there from the jump, right? And I think we're all on the same page there. But when you find yourself in a constant situation of things being taken away as opposed to things being poured in, it's hard to close that gap. Let's be honest. We've had years of laws stacked against multiple groups of people that have created that gap, but yet we are so afraid of a law to try to close that gap.
Exactly.
That's just, there's nothing mind-boggling about that. It's a power play, and it's just what's the next card that can be played to maintain the power.
So much of what happens in these conversations is that it is a zero-sum game, right? That somehow to help close the inequity gaps in our communities, which takes something, the people who already got it in many cases feel like to help for us to get something over here, they're going to lose something there. And so then it becomes a political debate that we can never get to and stay focused on for the long term, right? It's the zero-sum game. And when, I got a book over my shoulder that is called The Sum of Us, that the thesis is, if for somehow those, and they tend to be conservative, and kind of on your side of this discussion, if you just got over the in many ways position that for some others to step forward, that you have to somehow step back, then we might be better off, because when everybody is rowing in the same direction to their best abilities, that maybe the pie, maybe the circumstances grow, right? That it's not a zero-sum game, that the sum of us actually equals more. But we can't get to that, because it's always a back and forth, kind of to the point what Hub has talked about.
The one-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, that was a great question, Rich. Great debate. Let's move on to Hump's question. I don't think he asked his question. So Hump,
all right, so I'm gonna try to bring it up a little bit, because we got deep right there. We typically talk about sports, we talk about politics, and we talk about, in some cases, entertainment. So question, if you had to swap lives with any political figure, athlete, or entertainer for a month, past or present, who would it be and why? And, just think about, who you admire, what may curiosity you may have about their life, what would make it interesting. But I think it kind of touches on, if we get 3 different answers from 3 different paths, that'd be great. But
They got to be alive in this time frame.
Past or present.
Okay.
I'm going to say Will Chamberlain.
I wonder why.
Why did you say Will Chamberlain?
And his statement's going to follow you around for a while, that you slept with 20,000 women.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
Hey, he was a hell of an athlete. He was a hell of an athlete. One of the most dominant
Oh yeah,
ever.
most dominant of his time. There you go.
I thought Tom was
on both sides of the ball.
I thought Tom was going to say Rock Hudson or Liberace.
Oh man.
Damn.
Oh my. Hey, look, Ty, there's gonna be an article posted in the edit, right? Just so people know what you're talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know.
Hey man.
Well, I know, I'm gonna find an article for sure.
You might as well post the link of Rock Hudson and Liberace too, for the younger ones, so they can get understand what Rich was getting at.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna post both of them. So Ty, you say Will Chamberlain?
I said Will Chamberlain.
Hey, Will's an interesting dude, though. I mean, we cannot discount all the great things that he did throughout his career.
That's what I'm referring to. I'm lost on what you're talking about.
Couldn't be the Celtics, but
yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. That's what I'm saying. He was a great, and he's a captain. So he fits all that. That's what I'm saying. What are you talking about?
Yeah. All right, Ty. All right. Whatever, man. Rich, what's your reply, Rich?
Well, I always think about the biblical characters. I usually say King David, but
now you're gonna be feeling bad.
I think I'd like to see what it was like to be Moses, dealing with those people complaining for 40 years.
Now, was he a political figure, an athlete, or entertainer? Which one?
Well, I figured you wanted a prominent figure, and I think he's probably more famous than any of the athletes or political figures. And since you have put it in perspective, I guess I would say Michael Jordan from a sports, from an athlete position. I believe he's the GOAT. I know that you guys were back and forth on LeBron and Jordan, and I think that the reason why I like Jordan is his work ethic, his leadership, his competitive nature, and just to be him for a day, you would see, I guess, what it takes, what it is that makes him who he was in his prime.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Rich, and I think we're starting to hear a little bit more and see a little bit more of that he's caught a lot of bad press around the Last Dance because it was so focused on him. But the reality is that was some of the introductions of stories that have now started to come out a little bit more, and you start to understand to be at that level, you got to be somewhat of an a-hole. You got to have some level of drive. And, his personal motivators have been starting to come out. Now you're starting to hear the stories from other players that played against him. And I agree with you 100%. It would be interesting to spend a month.
I think Ken would agree with that too.
Agree what? Which part of that? Because I was going to say, quite honestly, I got two. One is LeBron, and the other one I'll come back to. But I actually, if you ask me who I could be, I think Jordan, part of his greatness is that competitive edge that turned him into asshole at time, huh? And I'm not sure that was always fun for him. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think it was a burden. Like, it also comes out how he wasn't thrilled about The Last Dance and the narrative associated with it, right? Mm-hmm. So that may be one reason why I kind of wouldn't be him. I actually think I probably would pick LeBron. I'll come back to my second because it's a tie. I picked LeBron because it was easy for LeBron to kind of be the next billion-dollar athlete because he just learned from what Jordan and so many folks did ahead of him that he just, hit the market plan, the way to carry himself was laid out by someone who, whether he'd ever say it or not, he admired and emulated and set a path for him, right? And as such, he had a model and resources and the name recognition, the media on his jock, everything to kind of get there. So maybe that's one person. That's my first one.
Hey Ken, let me. This just hit me too. Think about how much Kobe emulated Jordan for everything he tried to do, but he didn't get it right till he got the off the court shit right too.
Exactly.
That's when his career skyrocketed, man.
And I agree.
And that helped LeBron. And that helped LeBron
because LeBron saw that. Kobe took all that, right?
Kobe took all the shit of he trying to be Jordan. He tried to be Jordan. He tried to be Jordan. So much so that there are a lot of people who didn't have anything good to say about Kobe until he died. Right. And so in many ways, LeBron benefited from both of those two and other athletes who, including the money and all the Magic and Larry and all of that, just set him up for King James, that he's just rode to a much easier path to be a billion-dollar athlete. Right.
But you're right, even down to the point of being willing to speak out about different things. Exactly. And not just shut up and dribble and want to let it affect my other money. I can just be me. And now, so I think that's a great point. Exactly.
Jordan had the famous Republicans buy shoes too, right? He came up in a different time, right? But by the time LeBron came on, he knew that it wouldn't matter because he still was going to get there, right? So it's just very different. The other one though, and maybe I put ahead LeBron, is fucking Tom Brady. Tom Brady. I mean, come on, man. That motherfucker, right? From like, I'm sure he had some tough times at Michigan, right? I'm sure it wasn't great for him to be the backup and then, but I mean,
having been coached by Belichick all the time.
Exactly. I'm sure that wasn't the best, but he's the GOAT now. He married a supermodel. I mean, come on, man. And if you believe in things like white privilege, come on, man. Could it be any more better kind of golden boy that we've seen in our lifetime than Tom Brady? And I'm not disparaging him in any way because I actually admire the way he's carried it. But and that's probably why I would pick him.
That's tough.
That's solid. That's solid.
It is very simple.
Cool. Paul, who you got?
Soldier Boy.
Some motorcycle parts guy.
So it could be anyone in athletics or entertainment or politics, right?
Politics, entertainment, or athletics.
Now, when you're them, do you have their abilities? You have all their abilities, everything, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're them.
So
you're them. You're that person.
So I hate to say this because it's probably like Ken says, maybe two. It's kind of hard for me because I'm not one to. I mean, it's hard for me to say I want to be someone else. even if they're, whatever.
You get real deep with this thing, but go ahead.
So it's probably two. I would say James Stewart Jr., right, who is the in my opinion, the fastest man to ever race a motocross bike, because if you ever saw him ride in person, there were things that he did on a regular basis on a motorcycle that seemed like they were defying the laws of physics. And when I say this, I am not exaggerating at all, right? And it was little things that you don't see that if you watch a video, if you watch a clip like that. If you went to a race, even being someone that has never maybe watched a motocross race ever, it's mind-boggling what he could do. I took my wife to a race in Georgia when he just turned 16, right? She damn near cried when she saw him ride. Like, I'm telling you, that's how phenomenal he was on a motorcycle. Like, it was
what was his weight? What was his height? What was his weight? What was his
he
build?
was maybe, I think,
on a motorcycle?
I think James is about 5'7".
How much do you weigh?
He's I don't know, maybe he's somewhat slim, but I saw him one time in shorts, and his legs were, him and a guy named Ricky Carmichael, saw them both in shorts. Their legs from the bottom to the top.
Pause.
What?
Pause. Wait a minute. Pause.
They just had on shorts.
I don't like the way this is going, huh?
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. The key to being able to ride a motorcycle is having strong legs. Cool. Most people have a calf and they have a thigh. Their legs were.
And what did he have?
Hey, you see, Liberace wants to know.
You walk right into this one, B. You walk right into this. You know you can't do this with Ty. You know you cannot do this with. You knew Ty was going. You knew what Ty was going to do.
No, I didn't, because he's that player. Most of us had a calf and a thigh.
Listen to this. Look, both of them, they're probably the two goats of this sport, right? Their legs were just like pure muscle, top to bottom, right?
Goats or horses.
You know, right? Let me mute you, man. I'm gonna mute you, man.
Oh my God.
Since I was so rudely interrupted,
I get where you're coming from. Now, I'm sorry I asked the question, but I only asked it because I think I think we missed the part of how much of an athlete he was.
They don't look it. They do not look like athletes in any way. Ricky Carmichael was a little short, fat kid, and he was one of the fastest racers in the world. That's the weird thing about motorcycles, and even sports sometimes in general. You can never tell how good a guy is by what he looks like. I've seen guys that were very heavy. One of the fastest racers that does what I do now, his name is Stuart Baylor. Stuart is very chunky. He's never going to be slim, and he's one of the fastest and most skilled riders I've ever seen in my life. So when it comes to motocross, dirt bikes, you can't tell how good someone is because of the way they look. Actually, there's a guy that used to play football for Notre Dame. And he runs these races now. He races in Virginia sometimes. In supreme condition, but his technique is not great. He's just fast because he's fast because he has that youth desire and the endurance. But he's nowhere near as good as these guys. I mean, you can't just be a good athlete and be a great motocross racer. There's something about it. I kind of thought about that, and I know I'm getting off topic, but
no. I believe that. All skills being equal, being somewhat an athlete may give you an edge. But if you don't have superior skills, you're not going to be there.
Yeah, I think when it comes to motorcycles, it's the inner ear, the balance. There's some guys that are just born that are really good at those types of sports. Like I would see guys doing like half pipes, back when I was a kid, skateboarding, and they are just kind of good at those sports. They have that type of balance. The fear is not there, so
and they had access to try those things out, and that's what made them good.
You try when you're doing when you're young. Yeah, you do it when you're young.
I'm gonna build you a half pipe, huh?
No, thank you.
But you definitely there's definitely something special about those guys that are fast, that are good at that. Like even Tyron would see the talent, and Ken too. Consider they don't like motocross.
Motorcycle cross. Motorcycle cross.
Right. All right. So, and the second person I would probably might be Jay-Z. I might would say Jay-Z.
That's a good one.
That's a great one. Only for one reason.
I might
only,
say Jay-Z.
No. I'm with you, Ty.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
And it would be.
But that guy, think about it, that guy pulled himself out of boy. But you gotta think about it. Jay-Z pulled himself out of the let me mute you again, Ty. Let me get my point out. So both of them pulled themselves out of well, Jay-Z pulled himself out of the hood, and he's a billionaire. No matter if he was a big time drug dealer or not. Some people say it was, some people say okay, he had money. But coming from that environment, where he came from, and he kind of hang out with some of the rappers in Greensboro, and he kind of pulled some of them guys out. Anybody in music, in my opinion, is working in a hostile environment. Music is a hostile environment, man. It's shady, is damn near the streets. So for him to end up becoming a billionaire, he marries Beyonce, who when he married her was even though she wasn't Kelly Rowland, she was the it girl when he married her.
Number two. Yeah, somebody got number two.
Do y'all think the death of Biggie and Pac actually cleared path for Jay-Z?
No doubt.
Would y'all say that? Would he be the guy he is today if they had lived? There would have been room for him?
That's a great question.
I think it would have been tough. I think it would have been tough. Everybody was looking for somebody, and he stepped in and took advantage of the opportunity.
Yeah.
But the greatness that those two had, it would have been tough to I'm not saying he wouldn't have found a square to work in.
Right.
To rise like he did, we were looking for somebody.
Yes.
And he took advantage of
it. It definitely helped, I think. Yeah. And another thing is, him and Big were supposedly very, pretty close. So he might have ended up in the same place anyway. I think he probably would have. It just would have probably been harder for sure.
Yeah, because it would have still been, the Death Row and whatever what was Diddy's label, whatever it was, right? It would have been those two where would Rockefeller Records have space. That's why that's the question I always come up with, right?
That's a good point. I think one thing I think about Jay is that somewhere in his DNA, that hustler mentality was that he was going to get it, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But to your point, would he have still gotten it if he hadn't had the success he had on the music side? Because that in turn allowed him to do a lot of other things. That's a good point. I don't know. I think he may not have been as big as he is today, but I think he would have had a seat at the table because I think he just has that hustler mentality.
Yeah.
I always think of shit like that.
Yeah.
I always think about like sometimes I ask, would Michael Jordan be considered to go had Len Bias lived? Right? I always think of shit like that, right? So because these things take turns, right? And because Jordan had nobody even close to his athleticism and all the kind of stuff. Bias was right there with it, right? Yeah. And Bias was going to the Celtics. I just always think about the changing course of Biggie and Pac's death and what that created for some people, and kind of the same thing in the basketball game.
If Drew Bledsoe had never gotten hurt, would Tom Brady be just Tom Brady?
There you go.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And Belichick, would Belichick, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's why I laugh at his cockiness. I don't know if you saw the back and forth between him and Kraft. He kind of Kraft made the comment earlier. The best choice he made was choosing him to be the coach. And then Belichick came at him. Well, I'm the one who took a chance on you guys, and I just think that's a pretty cocky statement to me because Belichick had a chance to coach before, so he won the greatest thing at Cleveland.
Nope.
Failed miserably.
So I definitely think exactly.
He was still in the right direction. The question is,
I'm not saying he wasn't a solid coach. No, but I'm just saying. My point is, I think they did. I think who took the bigger chance? Was it Belichick going there, not taking the Jets job and going to New England, or New England taking a chance on him to take and it's, who knows? I think both of them helped each other, but it was a good question.
New England was sorry before he got there, so just like the Jets. So
they were, but Belichick also had the reputation of being Parcells' defensive guy, right? There was a lot of questions as to whether Belichick should even be a head coach because what he did with the Giants and just following Parcells around when every time Parcells moved, and then the Cleveland situation did not go well, right? And so I'm kind of with you, Ty. That Kraft is the one who I thought took the risk.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
so great. I was gonna say great question, Hump. Great question for the panel. All right, so our last panelist to answer a question is Brother Tyron Bond. So Ty, what you got for us, man?
Okay, let me keep mine real light because we got real deep real fast. So my question is, if you had one or two songs that you can listen over and over again for, let's say, a week, a month, whatever, you're stranded on the island, you can only have one or two songs, what would it be?
Okay.
Can I check my phone?
No.
Can I? No? Shit.
Well, you can. I mean, look, it is what it is. Right.
All right. So who's jumping in here first?
I can go.
Okay.
It would be an iPhone. I mean, I used to be Android, and then I finally got an iPhone.
It's a song.
It's a song. What song? He needs you to ask your question again, bro.
No, I know. If you can listen to one or two songs.
Oh, I thought you said if there were one or two phones that you could. All right, let me think about it. Sorry, guys. I've been on another planet today. Go ahead, somebody else.
Not just today.
All right, Bob.
I got one. I had to think of the second one, but the first one would be The Scandalous Suite by Prince. All three songs of Scandalous with different versions. It's about 19 minutes long.
Wow.
And if you can't listen to that song and not feel something on one of the three versions. So for me, that's definitely one of the two. If I had two, that would definitely be one of them.
All right.
And good luck finding that on any source. If you didn't have the disc and you didn't download it, you can't find it anywhere.
It's exclusive, huh?
It's exclusive. Right. I love it.
Perfect. Ken, what you got, man?
I still got to think. I don't know. I mean, I got different artists going through my head. I got to pick the right song. I don't know.
I'm ready while he's thinking.
Right. Go ahead, Rich. Jump in, man.
I think it's Holding On by Robert Cray, blues singer.
That's a good
one. Put that on my list.
This is a tough one, man. I'm gonna my favorite Prince song because I love this song. I don't know why. It's Raspberry Beret. I'm gonna say Raspberry Beret. I could probably listen to that.
You find in the secondhand store.
Exactly. Yes.
As long as you didn't say Darling Nikki, I'm good.
Hey, that song has its merits too.
It does.
I was gonna say,
sure.
Hey, if you're on an island by yourself, you might want that.
I didn't say by yourself.
The visuals alone.
I didn't say by yourself. I said,
that's right. You said this all week. That's right. This all week.
Even better with The Scandalous Suite. Go ahead now.
There you go. I don't know. Mine personally, the song that no matter what my mood is,
Yeah.
You put Frankie on Golden Time of Day, it
Mm.
hits. It hits.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what you move up, down, you can do it. It touches everything.
Yeah.
So that's the one that no matter how my day is, once I hear that song, come on, I can just sit back and just go to another
Like
place.
that one. That's good.
Yeah.
That's solid.
I think the hardest, the reason it for me is a whole playlist like curated on my iPhone. Like I didn't like Apple Music turned 20 or something. Did it curate all the songs you played on Time Hop?
Yeah.
And so that playlist I absolutely love. But what I did is kind of went back. I cheated. I went to my playlist. Rich, you'll get a kick out of this one, right?
Okay.
Because this is the one I listen to every Sunday morning when I'm in the gym, right? Notice I say in the gym and not at church, so ding me for that. But it's God Favored Me, the extended version by Hezekiah Walker. That song, that song, and it's two versions. It's a main version and then an extended version. The extended version is something like 7 minutes long, and I listen to almost every Sunday morning, and it just feels like it sets the tone for my entire week.
Love it.
Perfect.
Give it to me again.
God favor me. Yeah.
Give us a
Okay,
verse.
yeah, I've heard that.
And that's why again I like going to
Give us a
Time
verse.
Go ahead, Ken.
Paul.
Perfect.
Go P.
I said raspberry.
You said raspberry beret. That's right. That's right.
Yep. Yep. All right. Perfect.
Did you say one or two songs, or did you just say one?
I said one or two. You can name another one. It could be another one.
Because he went. I feel bad. I didn't. There's one song that always moves me. I'm trying to. I don't know. I don't know the name of it.
Hum it out. Shazam out.
No, you don't want me to do that, player. I'm not gonna just.
I got too many songs in my damn head.
Yeah, I don't know. But great question though, Ty.
Very good question.
Yeah, that was good.
Yep.
I might get it before we leave. I'll say it then.
All right, excellent. So that concludes our panelist questions for this week. I think we could have multiple segments out of that, so we'll probably do that on a maybe a non-regular basis, but we'll definitely do that again. I think it's interesting to see what guys are thinking about. We have some great questions and some great debates in that. We have two more things we want to touch on in this episode, and one is a little bit more serious. I wasn't going to do this, but I think we're going to go ahead and throw this out here since it's very timely. So, as you know, politics is a big thing we cover in this podcast, and we had talked about this among ourselves weeks ago about the Jeffrey Epstein files being released. And I remember when was it Kash Patel was made director of the FBI. Rich told me, and Kash is going to get in there and he's going to release these files. And supposedly there was a client list that was, that a certain groups were hoping were going to be released. And we found out that there is no client list. There's nothing to release. There's nothing else to see here. And we have somewhat of a dilemma here, because a lot of people on the MAGA side are actually upset that these people that they put in position are not doing what they wanted them to do in regard to this. And then a lot on the left now have flipped and said, hey, release this, if there's something there. So, I want to see how the panel feels about this, because this could be the one thing that makes a lot of people with these midterms coming up in 2026. It may change the way a lot of people look at this administration. Hard to say, but Who wants to chime in first on this? I'll leave it up to you guys. We'll flip a coin.
Rich,
Whatever you want to do.
go, Rich, go.
No, Ken, I know you chomping at the bit on this, player.
I want to hear, like, I'm fascinated by this because, like, who do you trust, right? You know, I know you're a big Trump guy, and you all expected him and Cash and Bondi and Bongino and all these guys to, you know, show the world everything, right? They already released the JFK files and all these kind of things, all the stuff that got y'all riled up that most people on our side didn't give a shit about, right? What I'm confused about is, just like everything else you did, right? Now you're in position. Now you're going to turn your camera off. Now you're in position to kind of get it all out there, right? Why not do it, right? Unless, in my mind, there must be something to hide. And if we were to listen to Elon Musk, your man's name got to be in there somewhere, right? I mean, isn't this interesting that, like, the administration won't release it, one, and then two, people like you, Rich, and then you ain't hiding, people like you, like, are calling BS that it won't be released. I just find it fascinating.
You still there, Rich? Can you hear us?
You scared? Say you scared.
I think Megan hit him. Don't you answer that. Don't you answer that.
You turn that camera off.
No, he's calling to get clearance.
Let's see. Okay, device lock. Let's give Rich a minute here.
Like Hump always say, they got a whole standard, like, what do you say, Hump? Like a whole script.
Distribution list, man. Listserv. There's a listserv out there. Talking points for the day.
Yeah.
You got to go find the listserv. That's why he's looking for the listserv.
But you can't hit on it. And my whole thing is, you know, it's the extremes. You know, because the first day when they thought it wasn't going to come out, it was that even the man himself, oh, go ahead and release it. I told them to release it if they think it should be released. And then all of a sudden it goes from that extreme to all the way to a hoax. I mean, there's no middle. I mean, right. Now it's a hoax. Right. I mean, how does it go from, you know, this happened to having the list to go ahead and release it? I looked at it and you couldn't find out she consulted with him. He got to see it. But again, knowing it's not going to come out, the act as if I'm okay with it. Go ahead and just do it. Mm-hmm. And then thinking it would go away once she said she wasn't going to do it. And to jump from that to it's a hoax. I mean, that's the thing that, like you said, it's fascinating to me because we know it's not a hoax. We know that, I mean, the charges, I forget the young lady who's still locked up. You know, so we know it's something happened.
Maxwell.
So it's just amazing me how now all of a sudden it's like anything else that we don't like, it's fake or it didn't happen, it's a hoax. And anytime you jump to that, that's the extreme that you like, wait a minute, man. Yeah. And you're the only one that knows what's in there. You've been consulted. And that's where you take it to a hoax. But hey, nothing new here. Nothing to see here.
Well, I asked the question on our chat group earlier. Is it possible that, you know, the previous administration had this information, previous FBI leader or head, and held on to it, knowing that, you know, if there is information, the next administration would not release it, so MAGA would be upset. And if there isn't any information, MAGA's still going to be upset because now they say, hey, there's nothing there. So all this stuff they built up, you know, from, you know, I've got the files on my desk to, you know, there's this list, we have to release it. And now that they either have nothing or they have something that they don't want to get out, and they're kind of stuck at this point.
Well, I think there are a couple of facts that are for certain. One, it is just protocol and has been forever, right? That, like, there's no, you just don't release people's business in the street. You know what I mean? Some things that get filed in public court and stuff like that, you have to release. But the file of an FBI charge doesn't have to be released. And so the prior administration was just probably following traditional protocol, right? However, I was listening to, an investigative reporter who I forget her name, but she was, I was watching her. She was like, the things that have been released because they were subject to like that public information is heavily redacted, right? So like the things that are supposed to be released is heavily redacted. And then there's stuff that that the prior administrations wouldn't have released, but yet this administration said they would, and they have when it comes to things like, again, the JFK files and all that kind of stuff. But in this particular case where they said they would, but they haven't, makes it even worse, right? And worse for those of us on the left, because first of all, we don't give a shit about this, but you kind of have said you want to release everything, but now you're not. So for the first time, someone like me is on the same side of kind of MAGA people. It's probably for the different reasons, but the MAGA folks are looking for all the child pornography crooks. I don't know, so they can maybe burn them at the stake or something. I'm curious because obviously our richest guy is now declaring, don't release this because my shit's in it.
That's the beauty of social media. I just sent Paul a text. He probably hadn't seen it, but Trump already posted on True Social that he's demanding that the files be released ASAP. I think he was playing high-level 5D chess, and the reason I say that is because if you think about it, it was his administration that arrested Epstein. It was his administration that pointed out that it was highly likely that this dude was used as an asset for the Israeli Mossad that dictated and orchestrated U.S. government policy. And it's because they had videotapes of multiple government officials, high-ranking government officials throughout the U.S. government to vote in a way that was beneficial to Israel. Now, they're saying off the beaten path, there were so many people who were compromised by the Epstein situation that deals had to be made. Everybody who was, looking at off the beaten path that were voting MAGA and Trump were demanding justice because they said that the deeds were so dastardly that even veteran seasoned detectives got sick to their stomach. The reason Comey came back during the
dancing around the topic, though. I mean, we all know that it's heinous what Epstein and all those men did to those young. We know that part is heinous. Isn't the question for this conversation why your man has been anti-release to this point?
Well, because you said in your own statement starting off that you could care less about it, but now you want to see it. And now
No. I don't want to see it because I don't really care. I'm entertained by you all in the MAGA land fighting over it. And now I'm intrigued as to why your man wouldn't release it unless he must be in it. Something indicts him.
Okay. Well, Ken, you're one of the rare birds that could care less about it. Okay. There's a lot of those who are on the other side of the fence that with all of the information and all of the hoopla, all of the consternation about it, they're now curious. Curiosity killed the cat. These people are taking time to look up information. You might not be, but it's a lot of people who are. And because of that, it has drawn more attention to it than it would have gotten if he just went ahead and did it. There were other things that needed to play out. I don't know if you saw that the Comey girl what was it? The wife of
Daughter.
her daughter. So she was fired today or yesterday. There are all kinds of things that are playing out that needed to play out because
she fired?
she was fired. From what I understand, even though deals were made to keep our government in place, there's a lot of people that are going to jail. It's a lot of people. And we knew this level of corruption was going on just because off the beaten path, MAGA was talking about why we would get promises from the left and the right, and none of it was ever fulfilled. None of it was ever fulfilled. So
one thing I think, this is they're in a bad, tough situation, because let's say you do release these files. You can't just release part of them, because there are people that they have fired that have seen all these files, have seen everything, that know exactly what's in it, right? So if you release some of it and not all of it, if you release the stuff that just looks positive to you, your ass out, because people are gonna come back and say that ain't it, that ain't everything, right?
It's been redacted, yeah.
Right.
Well, let me
hold on.
This is in response to what you're saying.
I got more to that. So they could do that, or let's say they release it and there's nothing in it, right? There's nothing really earth-shattering, right? All of these people that claim that there were these lists, and there's all, I mean, it's a no-win. It's almost a no-win for Trump and his people at this point. On this one topic, this might be the topic that makes them look as bad as I think they really are. There's no way that they can win this. There's no way they can win, in my opinion, that I can see. If there is, let me know, Rich. I mean, they could come back and just say, well, we knew there was nothing in it, the MAGA people, but they want blood at this point. Like, they really want blood from these people, right? They want to chop. They want somebody's head held up to say, look. And if there is no head to hold up, that's bad. But what if that head is one of your people or some of your people? Right? I mean, it's a no-win.
I think that the mindset is, though the heavens may fall, let justice play out. I mean, people are not. You guys think that we are so partial that even if Trump was on the list, we would say we need justice. I'm telling you.
Oh no,
we want justice. I'm telling
you.
I'm telling you.
No way.
Okay.
Please don't go there.
Okay.
So this is
the way you perceive it. Okay, but for me,
no way.
If it's him, so be it. I'm of the mindset that we need a clean sweep. We need to clean it up. But let me just read for you the True Social piece so that you have an understanding of why.
You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that.
Let me just read it.
You do not have to. You don't have to quote. You don't have to quote a liar.
It's quick.
Go ahead and read it, Rich. Go ahead and read
it. What book in the Bible is it coming from?
Liberace, first chapter.
Oh my God.
First verse. It says, based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey Epstein, that's him playing coy again, baiting people, I have asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony.
Pertinent.
Subject to court approval. So that's where you get what, Paul, you were saying, well, you can't release everything. I think all of y'all were saying that. And then it says, then he says, this scam perpetrated by the Democrats should end right now.
Well, Rich, what thing is that the grand jury testimony isn't all the information necessarily.
It's not. It's right? not, but it's more. So, it's more than what we have right now. It's more than what we have right now.
That's probably not going to be anything earth-shattering, in my opinion.
I have a question that like most. I don't give a shit really, but my biggest thing is why lead with we're going to release the files. We're going to release the files. We're going to release JFK, and why lead with all of that and then sit on the lawn and say it's a hoax, it's made up by the Democrats. There's no list. There's no what's all the back and forth? What's the flipping and the flopping? And now on Truth Social is let's release everything. The ridiculous, but let's release what we can release. I mean, why do we go back and forth? If the list was there and you campaigned on it, you had your son out there talking about let's see the list. But now it's like, well, we're not going to share the list. But now it's let's share the list. Why all the back and forth? Why do we have to go through this drama around this shit? If it's
and Hump, can I add to it to what you just said? Like even Rich, we listened to that whole statement. The last part of that statement just makes it all null and void. That's why I say don't read it, because he can't even release a statement without calling something a hoax that you just said it happened under his administration. Epstein was arrested under Trump's administration, right? So how is it somehow? And he's walking around talking about
now the Democrats did it.
Yeah, now it's Democrat. Now it's Comey and Obama and Biden and all these kind.
And Hillary.
It's everybody. So it's all like that's why when you want to read his true social tweets are bullshit, right? And it just make no so because if they do release something. Right, to Hump's point, all this back and forth, if they release something now, and P said it too, we know it's going to be combed through and they're going to leave certain stuff out and all that kind of. If they do it now, it's going to be to follow the narrative that he does. That's his way out. His way out is
follow-on questions come.
Exactly.
We released. We told you we were going to release. We released what we released, and now let's move on.
Yeah. He just said, hey, pertinent information. All the little words you put in there. Yeah, the pertinent stuff. Who determines what's pertinent all of a sudden?
Exactly.
It's just amazing. It's amazing.
Even though we know Bondi has met with you and you have all the information. So, as soon as that started, they met together. So now they went into didaction mode. So come on now. Come on.
It's just amazing how much hype is put around things that fit the narrative and so much minimization around things that could jeopardize the narrative. That's just what's truly amazing to me out of this whole thing.
I guess time will tell. I will say that
time's going to tell a lot of things.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah, I the whole part where Pam Bondi and Patel and Bongino, I feel like it was a level of exposure of them because I think it also is showing just how far, wide, and deep the rabbit hole is in regards to those who are connected to some of the stuff. I'm not saying they're on the list, but I'm saying some of them, their loyalties are not necessarily with what was campaigned. Because I have trouble believing when she said she had the list on her desk on her like that day she took office, and then all of a sudden there's no list. I mean, I got an issue with her claiming again that there was a list and then all of a sudden there wasn't one. I got an issue with Bongino and Patel slow walking everything. And there's a lot that we don't know. There's a lot that we don't have access to. There's a lot going on that we don't get to see. We don't get to look behind the curtain and see the Wizard of Oz. We don't. So some of it like Paul was like, I thought you said Patel. And I'm like, yeah, well, I did. I thought he was on board with the agenda, but I'm sure that you can figure out if you're close enough, you can figure out his connections and why it is that he's all of a sudden slow walking and muted. Why this information isn't coming out? These people,
do you believe
a lot of these people are compromised.
Do you believe this has been handled the way it should be handled, Rich?
I think that whenever there is a silent back and forth war, so to speak, that things may look messy out in the open, but if there's strategy going on behind, I'm concerned about the end result. And that's why I keep saying, well, we got time. We're going to wait and see. And
said that you're not necessarily aligned with the way some of the folks that you listed have handled the situation.
I mean, I don't like it. No. I guess
What he
you
just
did
he just
ask
gave
me
us a
that.
word. He just gave us a word salad. The same thing a lot of these guys doing. Whose
Well,
side
it's-
you on, man?
it's
Whose side
sort
you
of
on?
like-
You on Trump's side or the MAGA base who want to see the shit? Whose side you on?
That is a great question.
I think it's one and the same because I actually think that there's a lot of coyness in strategy. I told Paul yesterday, or was it today, P, that I said that I believe that some of it is a baiting tactic because those who were disinterested are now interested, even though the two of you have said there's no way that you want to know anything about it. Well, there's people out there, that because of the back and forth and all this hoopla, they're like, well, hold on. Let me see what all of this is about. More so than
Rich,
ever before.
Hold on a second.
The only reason that it piques my curiosity is because this is the shit that we're focusing on instead of trying to make the country accessible and livable for everyone in it. This is the shit that we're spending time. This is the shit we got Congress on running the votes to have records released instead of focusing on how people should be, living and being able to live. It's a bunch of drama and noise, man. And the reason I asked you the question of do you think it's being handled correctly is because the very same people who are mishandling are the ones who are appointed by your boy. And he put these non-qualified motherfuckers in office to run these things, and now they don't know, they can't get on the damn same page because they're all a bunch of fucking idiots.
And I got one more. I just saw this released just now. They said that they're going to release the list on that Doge website.
Laugh it up, guys. You guys just laugh it up. Just laugh it up.
We're still waiting on the information for that.
Because I'm mad now.
Hey, let's take a quote from Rich and Jeff and say, hey, I think it's safe to say that the Republican Party is on its way out. It's on their way down.
This is a interesting topic, though, in my opinion, because out of all things, this could be the one thing that that I don't want to say is the downfall of MAGA, but this one is. I just don't see how you win. I don't see a winning way out of it.
It's
how
fracturing.
many times do you guys have to go? This is gonna do it. This is the one.
I'm just asking. So Rich.
It's not.
So the
There
people.
is the largest amount of people that have started supporting him.
But
There's
here's my
exodus. The Democrat
here's my question.
Party,
they come out. They come off as liars, blatant liars, no matter what.
And you said you said that like it's new. That's nothing different.
No, but this one is. But this one is one that they. This is what they told.
That's just today's lie.
This is what they said. But hold on, this is what they said to their people, right? This is something that these people, what they told these people. Like most of these people feel like everything they're doing is what they voted for. Right. Everybody says this is what they're doing so far is what they voted for. So this is one thing that they're not getting that this administration and people around it have stood on from day one. We're going to release this. It's these Democrats are caught up in it. It's bad stuff, right? No matter how it comes out, whether there's something or there's nothing, somebody's going to come off as they were dishonest to us, MAGA.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's what I think is the sticking point on it. It's not like the other stuff.
But I agree, but the woman got to get fed up. And now that's going to be a strike against them, but that woman still ain't going to be fed up.
Who's that?
The woman. Because once a woman fed up, then ain't nothing you can do. But,
R. Kelly was right.
Yeah, exactly.
R. Kelly was right.
This ain't that thing to take it over the edge. She gonna get pissed.
I'm not so sure.
Mary gonna get pissed, but this can't. She ain't leaving you for this.
I'm not so sure. I'm
not ready to say they leave, but this is a MAGA fracture though. This is legit, right? Because all those people who Trump put in those spots because they were the face of these kind of things. But I mean, this is what Bongino did, right? This was, in fact, that's why he's called bullshit on like the way it's been handled, because he's afraid that his overarching credibility with this world is broken now. Think about it. That dude is like a younger guy. He like Trump, an old motherfucker. When he gone, I need somewhere to live. Right. And he made his podcast career talking about this shit. Now he's in it and said, "Oh, ain't nothing to see here." And everybody who followed him said, "Hey, now you full of shit. Now we don't fuck with you." And that, so no, this is real. I mean, look, and Rich, let me make sure I'm clear on what I feel about this. In that, when I say I don't care about the foul, people on the left, this is not the space we live in. And by the way, if Trump's name is in there, I wouldn't even all be surprised, right? I mean, we kind of know how he got down. To me, it's not even what's it like. MAGA people care about what's in the foul. Me and P, I think what me and P are saying is, hey, we see a fracture here that is perhaps the first real MAGA fracture, right? Because at the core of so much of this is we get to the bottom of all these conspiracy theories, from QAnon to stolen elections to Jeffrey Epstein, and we got our people in there, and all of a sudden our people is acting like all the other administration before. That ain't flying. That's the issue here.
Well,
I can appreciate saying that 10% of the base could be lost in the midterms because of this issue.
Yeah.
But O'Bannon doesn't matter anymore, right?
He does not. He does not.
Okay.
And this is real. This is not mega fractured.
This is the thing. You guys are jumping the shark. I really think you need to give it time. I really do. I think that you're going to step away. We're going to see what a lot of people are clamoring for, and it's going to be just like a drop of water out of a bucket. There's not a fracture like you think it is. And what's going to solve it is what you said people want to see. They want to see justice. I mean, you're saying they want to see blood, but I think people want to see justice, and we're going to get that. And I think it's going to happen before we get to the election.
January 6th proves they don't want to see justice.
Exactly.
So they don't want to see no justice.
How is that?
There are people that this administration didn't think should be let out for January 6th. Exactly. And they just went across the board, let them all out. So they don't want to see justice. They don't give a fuck about justice. That's not what that is about at all. At all.
Well, I think when everything gets laid bare, you'll have a better understanding that we have been in a psyop from COVID, from 2016, the whole Russia collusion. Have y'all even acknowledged that Brennan and Comey have been subpoenaed for the Crossfire Hurricane BS? Have y'all even acknowledged how
we're not on that website.
We told you.
No, that's
factual, bro.
That's factual.
You keep not putting us on the list. If you get us on the list, we'd be in the know. Yeah, exactly. You won't put us on the list, sir.
Hey, I tried to put you on the list on XRP. Y'all didn't pay no.
That's why I've been getting all those damn spam calls. That's exactly why. Damn it, Rich.
The Black Klansman. I want to be on that list. I want to get it.
Y'all love me some money, Rich and Toss. Y'all rich now, man. Sound like y'all got some paper.
Ain't nobody rich.
They ain't rich, but they got more than they had yesterday.
It's looking good.
Well, look, fellas, we're gonna jump into our last topic here, and we haven't talked about sports much, but what I think we're gonna do going forward is, since we're coming close to the NFL season, we're gonna hit on each division and kind of what we think is going on in that division. And the first division I picked for this particular week is the NFC East, because I know we have some Dallas fans on and Commanders fans on. If you want to call them Redskins, kid, I know you won't.
Commanders.
All right, but let's talk a little bit. Just
not the Commanders.
Get some good juju going their way now, right? So let's talk a little bit about kind of to wind this up here. Sports segment with the NFC East and where we think this is going to go, who we think is going to win, what do we think of some interesting moves that were made in this offseason. So whoever wants to dive in first, take a stab.
I'll go ahead.
Go ahead, Rich. Go ahead, Rich.
So I'm gonna just make a few predictions and then tell you who I think who will win the that conference. So I do not, for the Eagles, I don't anticipate Barkley playing all 17 games. He carried the ball way too much. He had way too many carries. There's always that next year, if you follow it, a level of regression for running backs because it's torturous. The league is torturous. Now he's a solid dude, big strong back, but I do believe that he will not play all 17 games. Jalen Daniels for the the Commanders puts up way better numbers than last year because their inept defense. He will have to score early and often for them to stay in it. I do think they get 10 wins and they end up being a wild card team. The Cowboys, I believe, Javonte Williams, the running back from Carolina, will have a career year as their running back. Pickens and Lamb connection for Dak will be historic. They will put up some great numbers. And Malik Neighbors will put up, again, unbelievable numbers, but the Giants will be cellar dwellers. NFC East, my friends, Cowboys in the 1 spot, Redskins 2, Eagles 3, Giants number 4.
All right.
Wow.
And by the way, I'm putting up the last season results for each team in the conference. So this is the Commanders, I believe, at this point. So I'm going to put up the Eagles, the Cowboys as well, Commanders as we go through, Giants as we go through.
Yeah, I have to go next because we have a Redskins and a Cowboys fan behind me. So I want to give them adequate time to get their arguments out. But I would say, first of all, I'm going to go with that's hard. I mean, I have Philly I guess they haven't had a repeat champion in that conference in how long?
21 years.
21 years.
21 years. Wow. So in that case, that would be the only reason I would say someone besides Philly. But I still think Philly will win it. The Redskins, I think they're definitely set up. I think they're making great moves. I just hope they don't make too many great moves as an executive team, because if they do, then there's no way we can consider Jaden Williams a great quarterback. So, thirdly, the quietness of Jake Daniels, whatever his name is. What is it? Jake Daniels? Yeah. Such
disrespect. A lot of disrespect.
I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it that way. I honestly didn't mean it that way. I don't have it in front of me. But believe me, I think he has all the attributes. The way he prepares, he has everything it takes to be a great quarterback. But the only problem, again, is if they put too much around him that he can't get any credit for it. So that's the only thing I'm saying. And then Dallas. I think the best thing about Dallas this year is that they've had a quiet offseason. And that gives me pause to think they may have an opportunity, because all that extra, I think they have a chance to concentrate on football and do some things. Now, who was that running back you thought was going to have a great year this year?
Javonte Williams.
So that means, what, 500 yards this year? I'm just asking. You said a career year. I just wanted to clarify.
No, I think he'll hit 1,000.
Okay. No, I'm just messing with you. You said a career like it don't take much.
Well, I mean, career year for him, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you said that. I'm just saying you said that like it was a great feat. And long as he don't jump into the little kettle on Christmas, I'm okay. and the Giants aren't even worth the conversation. So take it away, Redskins in Dallas. I can't wait to hear this.
You want to go, Hunt?
I'll go. I mean, and you guys, you can never, please don't ever put me into the category of a typical Dallas Cowboys fan. I am not a fan. I am a realist. I'm not fanatical. And so part of that is being honest with myself about what the team does on a year in, year out basis and not setting expectations and thinking they're always going to win the division. But to Ty's point, Philly is still the clear favorite to win the East. They still have a ton of talent on that team on the offensive side. They've lost some points. They've lost some players on the defensive side. They still got a lot of young talent. And you can't ever discount the fact that they have one of the best GMs in the game. So they're bringing in talent to replace. And as long as they can fit the system, they shouldn't miss too much of a beat there. While I am not a huge Kellen Moore fan for his previous tenure with the Cowboys, I think he gets a little boring at times and predictable. They are switching to a new offensive coordinator, so that could have an impact on their offense. There could be some stumbling out the gate until they get into their cruising altitude. So all things on paper said they should repeat, but without someone repeating in 21 years in the NFC East and with the upcoming of the Commanders as the likely challenger, it's hard to say that they're going to repeat. The Commanders have definitely made some moves in the offseason to get better, bringing Debo on board. That's huge if he can stay healthy. They just signed another pass rusher in your boy out of A&M. Even if he only plays 8, 9, 10 games and has an impact, you got that depth. So that's going to help them. Again, I like Quinn as a coach. I think they're building the right program there. But they're not going to sneak up on anybody this year. So they're going to have to bring their A game every week. They had a lot of things fall into place for them last year that propelled them. Is Jaden going to have a sophomore slump? There's a lot of questions around that, but on paper they should be number 2 in the conference in the division. The Cowboys, they got a lot of questions. I mean, to Ty's point, it's been a quiet offseason, which is good. They have potential. They definitely improved the offensive line. They got another running back in Javonte, which I think is a very talented guy if he can stay healthy. Dak's coming back. They added in Pickens to stretch the field a little bit. CD is going to get his. Tight end position strong. So offensively, they should be able to hold their own. Defensively, they're getting some key players back. They're getting Diggs back. They're getting Ozzy back at offensive line. And more importantly for them, what they didn't have last year, they have depth at defensive line that's going to be able to rotate and not just come in and stand in, but come in and make plays. And that's something they lacked last year, and teams picked them apart. So I still think they're going to finish third behind Philly and Washington, which don't know which two are going to finish there. But they're sneaky because they have had a quiet offseason. They have tried to fix some of the things, but my expectations are still pretty level. The Giants, I think, are still trying to figure out who they're going to be when they grow up. I think Drabo's position is definitely on the line. And he has to really make some significant improvements. Now, it's going to be tough given who they have at quarterback. They think Jackson Dart can come in, and maybe if the starter is the veteran is struggling a little bit. Malik is going to get his. Malik is a talent. Damn shame he's going to waste most of his years in the Giants. He needs to get out of there as quick as he can. But there's still a lot of gaps they haven't addressed there, and I think they're still they're going to be salad-dwellers. In terms of the playoffs, I think 2 teams come out. I think one wins the division, one comes in as a wild card team. But I think Philly top. Yeah, which is tough to say. Philly, and Commanders 1B, 1A and 1B. Dallas, and then the Giants.
Perfect.
I'm not a football. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Ken. Yeah, did you have
Here
yours,
we
Ken?
No, I didn't go yet. You want to go?
No, you can go. That's fine. That's fine.
So I'll start big picture, right? Like the NFC East plays the two toughest other divisions in football this year. They play the NFC North, which is, you know, we know Detroit's going to be good. Chicago will be better. Minnesota should still be solid. And who am I missing? That's a Green Bay. Is it Green Bay? Green Bay.
Green Bay. Yeah.
What? Tie get tight over Detroit? What you laughing at?
Oh no.
Okay. And then
you're talking about that team in Detroit.
Yeah. So then they play, then they got Kansas City, a good Denver team, a good Chargers team, and should be an improved Raiders team. So I think before everyone, before you say anything, you got to recognize that all of these teams got tough schedules this year, right? And then they mix it up. So I think they all can be better and have worse records, right?
Agreed.
I think 3 of the 4 teams will be better. I'm just not as high on Philly. No surprise, I fucking hate Philly. But I actually believe that what you said about Kellen Moore, I'm always more confident in continuity than I am lost. When you lose coordinators.
That's right.
And while I just think the world of Harry Roseman, I mean, he can't. He's not the one in the pulling it all together in the coaching rooms and on the field. So I think they've got some stuff on offense to figure out now that Kellen Moore is gone, right? And on defense, we like the law how he's done, and their D coordinator. But it's not the defense that played in the Super Bowl. I looked it up here. They lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson. They lost Josh Sweat, their best pass rusher. They lost Milton Williams in the middle, and they lost Darius Slay in the secondary. And they lost Brandon Graham, who retired. So their defense is going to be all these young guys now, right? Because they have pretty much shed the veterans to turn it over to the young guys. And some of those young guys played pretty well in the playoffs and late last season, but they also had those veterans on the field making plays. So I think Philly actually may take a step back between the O and the losses on defense, right?
That's fair.
I actually think Dallas is definitely gonna be better because Dak will be back, right? And the offense, I'm not sure how their OC situation works now that Schottenheimer is the head coach. Like, I'm not sure. Is he the play caller? Huh? Maybe I don't know who the O coordinator is now.
They haven't come out and said it yet because I don't think they figured it out yet.
Right.
To be honest, because I think they got to get through camp, but they haven't said yet.
Yes. So he may be the play caller. Him and Dak will probably be solid together, but that's always a challenge when the head coach is also the play caller, and if they haven't solved that with a tough schedule ahead of them. Although they're going to be better than 7-10, right? Because they got enough talent, right? I think the Giants, they ain't gonna be good, but they're amassing their front four will be formidable, right? Because they got the kid out of Penn State with already 2 really good pass rushers. Their quarterback situation is a mess. So, I mean, not really worth talking about them. But so I'm bullish on my Commanders, right? Because I think they have had, for the first time, feels like ever, continuity. Every coach stayed. They basically, of the starters that they lost, they only lost the safety Chin, who came from the Panthers, P, who was a big asset to them last year, right? But they got a corner and another line. The line will be much better. They've tried to address the run defense, which they got torched by Detroit and Philly in the playoffs and late season. They were the worst run defense in the league, so they'll be better on that end. And then another year with Daniels and now having your boy from the Niners. Yeah. I think they're going to be. They should be better. And the reason I'll pick them is I'm not sure that now is the time to say that that somebody will repeat when it hadn't happened in 21 years. So I lean towards the Commanders.
That was an amazing, rich answer right there. You went a long way around just to come back and pick your team. I mean, it was beautifully laid out. You went a long way around the corner to come back and say, yeah, Commander.
He didn't want to leave with him, Ty. He didn't want to leave with him.
He did.
Well, that's a good analysis, though. That's a very solid analysis.
Was it analysis?
It was impressive. It was impressive.
Yeah, it was solid.
That was very solid. That was very solid.
So what's your final order, kid?
I think it's Commanders, Eagles, Cowboys, Giants. Yeah.
All right, perfect.
But I have no idea how the records would be, because there'll be some losses somewhere that people haven't seen. Like the Bears are going to beat somebody, right? Yeah. Denver's going to beat the Chargers. Going to beat somebody, right?
Yeah, Eagles ain't getting 14. Commanders ain't getting 12.
Right.
Dallas may get over 10. They may get to 10.
My question is this: what wins it? 12-5?
That's a good question.
13-4. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I think but that's the kind of year, even in the Lions division.
Yeah, I think you got to get at least 13 to be clear champion.
I say 11-6 in our division.
So somebody is going to win 10, 11 games and not make the playoffs potentially, right?
Because that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, it's going to be a dogfight between the NFC East and the NFC North, right? And they're going to be some a one or two good teams from those divisions who don't make it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Hey, it's a consensus that New York Giants will be in the cellar.
Absolutely.
That goes without
saying. Hey,
saying.
poor Russell Wilson. This is a swan song for sure.
They should have drafted Shador.
But I will say this:
they should have drafted Shador. They would have been at least third in the East.
I'm not going to let you say that. Russell Wilson could never be in the cellar. Never. Not that he could be in the cellar, but it ain't the cellar we talking about.
Hey, long as he got that on his own.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the point. That's what I'm saying. Look, don't feel sorry for Russell at all.
I ain't never feeling sorry for Russell.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Chicken dinner.
Oh, man.
Richmond's finest.
No doubt.
Yeah, I'm not as I'm going to go ahead and jump in and give my little quick analysis. I don't really have an analysis. I'm not a football guy like that. I have no idea who's really going to win this. Hearing all the stuff that you guys said, I wouldn't even say that the Giants are necessarily going to be last. To be honest with you, I would pick Commanders first. I just think Jaden Daniels is going to elevate, and what they got for him is going to elevate offensively. It's just kind of defense, give him that room to breathe when they get up. The Eagles, I think winners are winners, man. And that group is a group of winners. And even though they lost some people, I can't see them falling off that far. The Cowboys, I think, are just a mess. I don't think they have enough leaders. I'm going to put them last in the division, but after the Giants. They just don't have winners to me, in my opinion. They don't have any senior leadership. Like Dak's been there like 10 years, and he's not a leader for that team, in my opinion, from what I've seen. I just don't think they're going to be any better than they were. Maybe they beat the Giants, but I think Russell Wilson will do more for the Giants than people think. I just think he has more talent than people realize. What's my man's name? The receiver that went to the Cowboys?
Pickens.
Pickens, yeah. I think Pickens was one of the downfalls of the Steelers' offense. One guy can break your offense when it needs to be that precise, and he was that guy. So, and the Dallas thinks they're going to fix him. If they do, that would be a miracle. I can see him maybe doing it for one season. I don't see him being long-term. But either way,
he's only signed for a year.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I think he's got 1 year contract year. He might do great.
He's going to play. He's going to ball out because it's a contract year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And Dallas is the place to go if you're a receiver who wants this.
Right, but I just don't see that. I just don't see them getting very far. They might be looking for a new guy pretty soon, even though they paid Zach $60 million a year or whatever. But I think that I told my guys, Rich, I told y'all that when we went to Miami.
You don't think Dak is any good? You don't think?
I didn't say he wasn't any good. I said they shouldn't have signed him for $60 million as early as they did. They should have waited. They should have waited till the season. If he got them further in the playoffs, they'd have got all that money back that they would have had to pay him. But now it's like they paid him $60 million, and what they got, you know, it's
as with most teams, when you get a quarterback that you believe that can carry you from season to season, you really want to secure that and put that on the back.
Exactly.
Right.
While I don't agree that he is the best quarterback in the NFC, not even in the NFC East, I don't think that the team could have taken that step back by not signing him.
Right.
It's like they had no choice. It was.
I'm not saying don't sign him. I'm saying don't sign him at that point.
No,
you had no leverage.
That's Jerry Jones' fault though, because they could have signed him a lot later.
Right.
So I'm not mad at that because he got them. I would have preferred to see Dak go to another team like Vegas.
I would have. Here's the thing. I would have waited to the end of the season. I would have waited to the end of the season simply because if you're going to be a winning quarterback, if he takes them further in the playoffs, if he takes them to a Super Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. There's no way he's leaving Dallas, right? He's not going to leave Dallas. That's still America's team. I'm sorry, he's not going to leave Dallas. Like he's supplanted.
So what if he got him? What if he'd have got him to like the divisional round? Would he left him?
Yeah, maybe you signed him then. Maybe you
he could have pulled. He could have pulled a Kirk Cousins. I mean, you just don't do that to your quarterback, though. You don't do that.
You can't jerk your quarterback around like that because these guys got egos too, Paul.
What did he get them? What did he get them to that point?
But Paul, you got to understand it's a market game, dude, and there's a lot of teams who don't have a starting quarterback.
He's not leaving Dallas if he takes them further in the playoffs. He's not leaving.
Look, he's going to get his money, and he will be slotted where he gets slotted.
And Jerry Jones would have paid him if he got that. But my point is, if he doesn't get you there, then you take some off of that. You take some off. You can take a bit off.
What?
You might.
Dealing with?
You might. You're not gonna pay him. You're not gonna pay him 60. You might pay him 50.
59.
You might pay him
59.5.
Yeah.
I'm saying
I don't love gaming. I don't love gaming the quarterback like that, P. I think.
Well, it's not game. It's not gaming the quarterback. How's that gaming the quarterback?
Because you're counting on him being a leader in so many ways. It's the most important.
He's not a leader. He's not.
Okay, so why don't you just cut him then?
Yeah,
here's my point. I'm not saying he's not a decent quarterback, but he's not a leader, and he hasn't gotten him anywhere.
If he's not the leader, then you cut him.
Yeah,
that point, right?
He doesn't have to be the leader. He just has to be a good quarterback.
No, your quarterback has to be the leader.
He has to be a leader, man.
The quarterback does not have a quarterback does not have to.
Give me one quarterback that's not a leader. Give me one.
What's my man's name that won the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay and was not a leader on that team?
Trent Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer, right? No,
he was still a leader, Paul.
He was still a leader.
He's still a leader.
And he knew his role.
He might not have been a top performer, but he was a leader.
I don't agree with that.
And I think it was Brett.
All right, let me ask you this: Who else was on that offense?
Johnson, Tampa.
Ain't but so many.
Who else was on that offense? Was Tiki Barber? I'm not Tiki. Was he a Tiki? No, who was
Rod was on defense.
But that's not the point. That's not the point.
Who was the leader?
What did that?
Who was the leader? No. Who was the leader?
No. What did that do to earn?
No. Go back to Trent. Go back to Trent. No. Who was the leader?
It wasn't Trent Dilfer.
Who was it?
You tell me, but it wasn't Trent Dilfer. It wasn't.
You can't name another person on the
but that I didn't try to name another person. I told you it wasn't Trent Dilfer.
It was Dilfer.
It was Dilfer.
I actually think it's Brad Johnson we're talking about.
It's funny we talk about Trent fucking.
Trent Dilfer was with the Ravens. It was Brad Johnson actually.
In Paul's defense, the overall arching leader would have been Ray Lewis, right?
No doubt.
But from leadership, just because you don't put up big numbers don't mean you ain't in that huddle saying, hey, look, man, y'all need to execute. Let's go. Ready? I mean, it ain't.
But what about Dak Prescott has told you he's the leader of that team other than them?
He's the quarterback. He's the quarterback team.
And
I'm not saying that he's a good leader. I'm just saying he's a leader.
And in the last and in the last 3 years,
it was the Ravens, man. My bad.
Yeah, Trent Dilfer was with the Ravens. Brad Johnson did it.
Brad Johnson.
Same thing. Brett, yeah. But the
exactly. Neither one of them.
I would say he's a leader in that when he's been healthy, over the last 3 years. Like he got hurt last year and then 2 years before that. But the other years, they've been like a top 5 offense, man. I mean,
good quarterback. Good quarterback.
He's a good quarterback who has led them through the season, and he and others from like the front office on down, for whatever reason, don't give you the same kind of thing in the playoffs. But I don't think you could put that all on him, right?
Look, Micah Parsons is more of a leader on that team than Dak Prescott. And this is what I'm saying. And this is what I'm saying. And Micah Parsons is not a leader. Is what I'm trying to tell you. They don't have a leader on that team. That's why they don't do well when they are leading the division and leading the conference in win-loss. They don't have leaders that know how to win.
I see what you did there, Paul.
This is your Shedeur Sanders take right here, Pete.
I'm just telling you. But like this, I've seen some winning teams, and they're not a winning team. What about them? What about Dallas? Makes you think that if somebody's going to win and go to the Super Bowl, it's going to be them?
Nobody said that.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that. But
there's no argument there.
Yeah, you taking away perhaps Dak's most significant quality. I mean, the dude's week to week leadership, the way he carries himself and the way he plays for the most part is probably his strengths. I think you have to take away his clutch in kind of the biggest games and in the last few years staying healthy. But he's been a leader, dude. That's harsh.
I disagree. They need some motherfuckers in there that's gonna smack some motherfuckers around and say, look, we're gonna do this shit like this. They don't have that, right? Michael Parsons too busy.
I don't disagree with that either. I think you either, but that's not necessarily always your leader either, though.
Right.
But I think you need that. I think you need an enforcer.
I think you need that on every team, but I don't think that necessarily has to be your leader.
Exactly. I'm with Hump on that, Pete.
And especially your quarterback.
But listen, you need a guy that enforcer is going to be on the same page with. The guy that's really kind of telling everybody.
You name like a Jim man.
Say a Jim who?
Like a Jim man.
There you go. A Draymond Green.
A badass at quarterback. You want a badass at quarterback.
I never said that. I never said that needed to be the quarterback. I told you the leader don't have to be the quarterback. He doesn't have to be, in my opinion. The quarterback just got to execute.
But Paul, it's common knowledge that the quarterback is in charge of that offense. So by default, they are a leader.
Paul wants the wide receiver to be the leader.
No, I'm just saying. We're talking about a different type of leadership. This is the quarterback by default does not have to be the guy that leads in terms of
but they are
the team.
Because
they're not.
You're not going to.
Who's the only person talking to the huddle?
You're not going to have a wide
receiver.
Not always tell an old lineman, "Hey, you
will be surprised. You will be surprised who talks to the huddle.
You're not
the only person talking. Who's calling the play?
Back. You're not going to have a wide receiver tell a running back, "Hey, man, you need to scoot over. You're not in the." That's what the quarterback does.
That's a different type of leadership, though. That's not what I'm talking about. Calling a play does not make you a leader. It makes you the guy that runs the offense, but it doesn't make you a leader when it comes to.
Well, we all agree with you, Paul, that there are different degrees of being a good leader. We didn't say whether they were good or bad leaders, but by default,
why would we talk about a bad leader? Why are we talking about a bad leader? We talk about good leaders. We talk about guys that can win, guys that understand how to win. Dallas doesn't have that.
Okay.
We all agree with that. We agree with that. No, that's right. We picked the third.
What about Dak Prescott tells you he's got it?
So, Paul, what's your order?
$60 million.
What's your order of the team?
Commanders, Eagles. I'm gonna just say Giants and Cowboys because y'all know what the Cowboys like that.
Okay.
I don't know no Cowboys. I'm a Dolphin, baby.
Hey, Pete, you mad, huh?
I am.
You fired up.
I am because I told him. I said don't.
I said fired up. No reason at all.
I said don't pay
Dak Prescott. You fired up.
I told him. I said don't pay Dak.
I already get fired up over Dak Prescott.
I wouldn't have paid him.
And you
so you let him walk?
I would have waited to the end of the season.
Well, what if he said I ain't gonna wait?
What's this gonna do? He ain't got a win. He ain't a winner yet. He ain't winning.
So he could. You don't think anybody else would sign him?
Let somebody else let somebody else sign him.
And then
Vegas would have signed him all day long.
I
wouldn't even went to Vegas.
So hey, with that being said, who's better, Geno Smith or Dak Prescott?
Shit, I say Geno over him right now.
Wow. That's a hard one.
I definitely would. I definitely would. What about that in his 10th season?
That whisper something in Kim's ear sometime that you ain't.
I'm just telling you,
you got a strong hatred against that cat, man. What's up?
Because I don't see it. I don't see it.
You got some deep-seated hatred on that.
He is a good quarterback. He is a good quarterback. Is he light years better than damn what's my man's name? Baker Mayfield. He's not light years better than Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield makes $30 million a year. Right? They could find a guy to do as good as that. That was was he a second round pick or was it fifth round? What was he?
Might have been
fourth.
Right?
Okay. It was a fourth round pick.
When he came in, he had a running game his first couple seasons. Then they started trying to lean on him and make him throw the ball all the time. And then they won't get him a good running game. If he gets a good running game, they can win. But they don't have a running game.
Because some of his best seasons is when they did have a legit running game.
Right.
So does that make him a better quarterback at that point?
I'm not saying he's a good quarterback or a bad quarterback, but I don't know he's a $60 million quarterback. Right?
I feel you on that.
I feel where you're coming from, but I think you're fighting gravity when you start talking about quarterback salaries now.
Or if you had Derek,
you do not have the leverage to pick and choose how much you pay your quarterback. If he's a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Sure they do. Baker Mayfield got 30.
And Baker Mayfield maxed out what he was going to get paid in Tampa.
And he got them further than Dallas got.
No, Baker Mayfield was on the street. He didn't have a home. And so he fell off.
But here's my point. He found someone that realized that he had the potential and the ability to play in the league, right?
And he had to take what the market gave him, which was discounted.
That's
the
right.
difference.
Sure.
That's the
let
difference.
that go. They could have let that go and got the guy, a second tier guy, and they would have been as better off maybe because they got more cap.
Wow.
They should have got Johnny Manziel, is what Paul is saying.
No, that's not what I said. You can push it out.
All that talk, you should have got Johnny Manziel.
You can frame it however you want. I just don't think that.
Paul, you keep talking about, but who would they got in, bro? Who they were in a tough position. Dallas had no leverage in this discussions with that. They had
let him walk. Let him walk if you don't want to wait. Let him walk if you don't want to wait.
Then who's going to be your quarterback?
I'm sure you could pick somebody up on the market, or you start over, or you just start over, or you start over.
Who's done that?
You start over.
Who's done that?
Does it look? Every team starts somewhere.
No,
right?
nobody with Dallas.
Their starting quarterback.
Look at what Minnesota.
Who has let their starting quarterback, who is still in the prime of their career, walk?
Minnesota let their quarterback go. Right?
No. Wait. You talking about like for JJ McCarthy?
No.
Is that which quarterback walked?
Sam Darnold got them.
Right. No. Sam Darnold was the bridge. That's a bad example. That's the bad example.
They could have easily let him go and gotten as good as they gotten 7 wins out of another quarterback.
But you asked the question. I'll ask you the question. Who's done that? You can't say Minnesota. That's a bad example. Minnesota didn't have a quarterback because they didn't have a quarterback, and they got Sam Darnold off the street from the Niners, and they drafted JJ McCarthy.
Hold on. And the only reason that Sam Darnold won because JJ got hurt.
This is what they could have. They could have drafted somebody. I think it was before last year when they signed him, right? Yeah, it was this offseason. It was this offseason they signed that, right?
I'm gonna help you out because the examples of where this happened. Kirk Cousins did this. This is what Washington did with Kirk Cousins, and this is what Minnesota did with Kirk Cousins. Right? They kind of said, "Hey, if you think we're not going to pay, walk them, motherfucker." Right? And Washington didn't find anyone until they found Jaden Daniels like 5 years later or 6 years, whatever it is.
And they're better off for it.
They are, but 5 years later though, P. And
sometimes it's
going
to take time.
Wait a minute, Ken, would you sacrifice those 5 years again, or would you rather have somebody there in responsibility?
So here's it's a great question. In Washington in most team situation, you might do it, but not if I was the Cowboys, because the Cowboys with Dak where it had been a 12-win team. You can't a 12-win team and let your quarterback walk out with no fucking plan.
They made the playoffs.
Listen to what I'm saying. Okay, listen to this. 12 wins, and they can't win in the playoffs. They can't win in the playoffs. Nobody gives a fuck about the regular season. They don't.
It's too harsh, P.
They don't give a fuck about the regular season.
You can't say that to a like Lions and Commanders fan, because we did care about for the long, because we couldn't get there. And the thing about
nobody
gives a fuck. You can't win a Super Bowl unless you're in the playoffs.
Exactly. If you want to say Dak ain't the guy, and this is what Hump has been fair about the whole time. He said Dak ain't that guy to get us over the hump, right? But you can't say the dude. Come on, he's been better than Kirk Cousins. He's been better than a lot of, and Cousins walked because everybody knew what he was.
I would have never paid Kirk Cousins $100 million. Why the fuck did they pay Kirk Cousins $100 million? Because the market says so?
Wait. So we're talking about two different things. Now you're talking about Atlanta, right? That's him going to Atlanta, bad deal.
Bad deal.
Right?
Terrible deal.
Because they were chasing the quarterback. Atlanta is what happens.
Dallas isn't.
Don't pay it. You got to chase a quarter. You're chasing a quarterback. Atlanta had to chase one. Minnesota had to chase one. All these teams had to chase it when you let your quarterback walk out the door.
Yeah, you're going to overpay.
Denver had to chase one. They let Russell go. Denver had to chase one.
Dak has been their quarterback for 10 years.
But you're missing the point, P.
What's the point?
Jones could have signed for 47, 48. He'd held off and let the market go up. That's his fault.
I'm not saying whose fault it is. I'm just saying that, look, Dak, for me, I would never have signed him for the 60 million. If he gets mad because I want to hold off and wait and see how he does in the playoffs, he just gets mad and he walks, right?
So I will agree with you from the fact, I will agree with you and say that he may not be a $60 million quarterback. I agree with that. But I will also say that the team had no leverage not to not pay him that $60 million.
I disagree. Me personally, I just would have started over. I thought they should have just started over. They should have got somebody in the draft to start over.
I wish they would have. Then they would have had a whole lot of money to sign a lot of other people that would have gave him a shot. So I wouldn't let him walk too.
Because guess what? Because this is what I'm saying. Guess what? Maybe
murdered for that.
Maybe
for that, man.
What if they get Jaden Daniels in the draft, right? What if they get Jaden Daniels? Sometimes you got to take a shot, man. Dallas is too concerned in my opinion
to be taking a shot.
Like that? After you win 10, 12 games? Come on, P. Come on.
If he out there shelling out 5 and 6 wins, that's a different conversation, bro.
But exactly. But here's the thing. What about Dallas in the playoffs? What about my question to you? What about Dallas in the playoffs makes you think that they could win the Super Bowl?
Your conversation would be more compelling if you said they should have traded him somewhere and got somebody else in. That's a more compelling conversation.
Trade him, let him go.
No. It's different. It's different, bro. Because if you let him go, now you got to try to. You're hoping that you got somebody you bringing on.
I don't mind hoping. I don't mind taking that chance. To be honest.
Who's your team, Paul?
I'm a Panthers guy.
Yeah, that explains it.
It might. But I like.
If we go any further, we ain't gonna have nothing to talk about on the other conferences.
Hey, I'm just telling you, y'all can keep Dak if you want. I think you shitted yourselves by picking Dak Prescott. You could have traded him, whatever you're gonna do, let him walk out the door. He's not the guy to lead you there. And now you stuck with.
I'm not saying that he is, Paul. I'm not saying he is.
So you would rather you just in it for the regular season wins, even though we know we're never gonna get to the Super Bowl with this guy.
You got to get in the playoffs first, man. You got to get in the playoffs first.
You got to get in the playoffs first.
If that guy could never get you past the first round, what's the point?
but it's not all him. It's not all him that's not getting them passed around, man. You make it like, weren't you the one just like arguing all about like a team and all? I mean, come on, man.
The whole Dallas, like I said, the Dallas doesn't have any leadership.
Nobody, and we always
send everybody out of Frisco. Send their ass home and start fresh. Draft and trade and sign everybody. Right?
You might as well. You might as well.
That's a strategy. That's one way. That's one approach.
You might as well.
I ain't never seen it employed, but hey,
I'm just saying you might as well.
Be a trailblazer.
Put it like this: How long has it been since the Cowboys went to the Super Bowl?
Forever. 95.
Wait a minute. Well, don't say that because Detroit has never made the Super Bowl.
28 years.
Ever.
I'm just saying.
You're starting to sound like the talking heads, Paul.
No, Detroit actually allows their coach to coach. Right? That's one of the problems. The coach isn't allowed to coach.
Oh, so now it's the coach and it's not Dak.
It ties into it.
Well, you got a lot of Cowboy hate about you right now.
I thought he was going all the way up. You said allowed to coach. Jerry Jones must go. Jerry Jones must go.
Hey, hang him in Epstein. Let's go.
That's true.
Get him out of here.
Jerry does need to get out.
I agree. 100%.
They're never going to
agree on.
They're almost never going to win with him as the owner. He's probably never going to win with him as the owner. Not again.
I think you won't get much argument from me. I think Jerry is the problem, right? Because he wants to win his kind of way. But you putting a disproportionate amount of that on Dak, though, dude. That's what I say. I think the whole culture driven by.
I'm just saying.
The whole culture driven by Jerry.
I'm just saying. I wouldn't want Dak to be my.
Even the players tell you they in the weight room. They feel like they're in the damn fish tank. People walking by, they trying to get their workout on and being pulled out to talk to folks. Got the owner all up in the locker room looking at the Johnsons and shit. Come on, man.
Yeah, all of the videos.
You've been to the Star Hub, right? Isn't that where they work out right there?
Yeah, that's what they are.
Come on, man. That's crazy.
It's a tourist attraction. Exactly. While the players are trying to work.
But in a player's defense, that's Dallas. That's what it is in Dallas. You can't let that throw you off what you got to do, though, in my estimation. I get it. You like, well, these guys come from. That's part of being a Dallas Cowboy. You a superstar.
Don't have to be.
Right?
Don't have to be.
Other
teams are able to do it.
Other teams are not America's team.
And neither is Dallas.
At this point.
Yeah, Dallas is. I'm not gonna lie. Dallas is America's team.
They are.
No. That's self-proclaimed America's team. That's bullshit. That's
that shit was great in the 70s.
That's market. There's no America's team.
There's no America's team.
No.
There is.
That was great in the 70s and part of the 80s. They weren't even good in the 90s when they were still winning.
When's the last time they won a Super Bowl? 20 years ago?
Right? 30.
Look, it wasn't even true then. They wasn't American team then.
They're right. The Pittsburgh was America's team.
I'm not even a Dallas fan. I'm not a Dallas.
I'm not either. But they are America's team.
They are America's team. Yeah. No, they're not. They're not. They might be the 19s.
This is not 1985, man. There is no such thing as America's team.
I agree.
Oh,
I agree with.
Do you see the jerseys that people? Do you see the Cowboys jerseys? Even when they're not going to a Dallas game, they wear Dallas jerseys.
So most popular doesn't mean America's team. That doesn't mean they're the most popular team. That's fine. But it's the difference between the most popular and America's team.
Half the press they get is because they're America's team.
Tyron, you really
the most popular team. They're like the Yankees. Are the Yankees America's team?
Yeah, in baseball.
I don't think so.
No, they're not.
They're a great team. They got great history. They're not America's team.
You splitting hairs, man. You know what they mean when they say America's team. It's the most popular team.
It's getting late. Speaking of splitting hairs, it's getting late.
Hey, look.
We're going to finish this off. But look, Dallas is the most valuable NFL franchise. And they haven't been to a Super Bowl in 30 years. 30 years.
I remember my second song. Can I tell it now or when? When can
Go ahead. What's your second song, Rich?
Spirit Fall Down, Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir.
See?
Spirit Fall Down.
See, can we make a joke on that one? I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go with you on that one.
Okay.
All right. Well, look, we're going to end this off with our last final thoughts. This will be pretty quick, I think. We probably said everything we want to say. But I got one that's going to shock everybody.
Uh-oh.
So let's go ahead with our last individual thoughts for the week. Ty, why don't you jump in first? I looked at you in the screen first. So
well, I'll make it simple. Please let this be the last week we talk about motorcycle cross for a little while. One, because that segment what Paul just did about somebody that none of us knew went entirely too long to hear about that man's legs. So I just say, in the future, let's make this the last segment. And that's my thought.
Man.
That's my thought for the week. Next.
All right, Kim, what you got for your individual thought, man?
Mine is a lot more serious. I think if we're being honest, the big bullshit bill was the worst of American politics and how it impacts us as a community, right? And I mean broad community. For three reasons. Number one, it's literally the biggest wealth redistribution thing that's happened in our politics, in our system in a long, long time. When you maintain and look for ways to cut taxes from the rich and at the same time take things from lesser disadvantaged people, that's redistribution, and that's terrible. Which leads me to number two. The redistribution point there is in many ways, factually, this decreases the social safety net, right? That those of us who need things like Medicare, right, who need some of the things that Rich asked the question about before on helping with inequality in communities, money in funding the schools, and all kinds of things are being cut as part of this is as bad as anything that in policy passed in this country in a long, long time. But those two pale in comparison to number three, which is the fact that this president and administration used so much of the money to arm his own black ops military group. And that's the group that's walking the street right now, trying to pick up the immigration police that they are, right? Because now with this money, it will be the largest law enforcement group in the country. Let me say that again.
It's his biggest gang.
Yeah, the largest group and walking around cities these days with masks on, right? Not having to show ID and badges, and walking on playgrounds and in schools and at Home Depots and picking up people. That's happening now. And with this bill, it's going to be even worse because it's been funded from it. While we took from Medicare and took from the social safety net, now he has an army way above any other military or police enforcement in the country to do more dirty work. And so if you're watching this and you didn't know and you weren't paying attention to the big bullshit bill, now you know.
Mic drop.
All right, Hump.
All right. Man, I got to follow that. All right, so let's stay on Trump because he's a hot topic. And I got to admit, part of what he's done has been really, really impressive. He's convinced the party of Reagan to advocate for tariffs and market intervention. He's convinced the party of law and order to celebrate the first convicted felon president and the pardon of violent insurrectionists. He's convinced the party of family values that it didn't matter if he cheated on his pregnant wife with a porn star. He convinced millions of women to vote for him even when they've heard him brag about sexually assaulting them. He's convinced Epstein conspiracies, ironic we're talking about that this week, to somehow accuse anybody but him, despite mounting circumstantial evidence of his complicity. He's convinced evangelical Christians to vote in at least the least religious president in U.S. history. And now he's convinced isolationists who call Obama a neocon and cheered the end of foreign wars to now openly support yet another foreign war. But he's not a salesman. A salesman actually gives you what he's selling. He's a con man, someone who promises big but never comes through with the goods that he promised. So what does he really promise that he's actually delivered? Did he build a wall or did Mexico pay for it? Did he lock her up Did he enact a Muslim ban? Did he repeal Obamacare? Did he eliminate national debt or add to it? Did he end the war in Ukraine or Gaza? Did he decrease the cost of groceries? Did he keep the U.S. out of foreign wars? Did he make America great again or a global pariah?
Did he not touch Medicare?
Fraud is fraud. And there's always a devastating moment when let's wait and see becomes, oh shit, we're in the thick of it, no matter how much evidence you show them. So, the con man usually just continues to con until they fleeced everybody that he's conning for everything they got. So let's wait and see.
All right, Rich.
Mic drop.
That was outstanding. Rich.
Gentlemen, I am overly excited tonight because today the Genius Act, in addition to the big beautiful bill being passed and signed already, the Genius Act gets signed tomorrow. Big beautiful bill defunded Planned Parenthood, and we will no longer be funding the genital surgeries for people. The Genius Act is going to be awesome because it is going to remove the power of the Federal Reserve. We are going to see historical prosperity in our country. I think it's a time to be excited about the future and how we are going to be able to fill in the gaps where the federal government has, in certain instances, taken some of the money. But I'm glad the big beautiful bill is going to be addressing the fact that there were some people who are on Medicare and Medicaid who weren't working, who were able-bodied to work. I think that's a good thing, considering the good book says you don't work, you don't eat. So I am excited. I think we are in awesome times right now. I'm excited for what is ahead. And like you said, we get to see it all play out. That's it.
All right. Thanks, Rich. All right. I really didn't have anything big to say, but kind of play off of Ken's question last week. Are we fucked? We're fucked. I said by the end of the year, we'll see where we're at. I think we're fucked. I went to the store this week to buy some hamburger meat. It's damn near 60% more than it was, right? This inflation is going to start to go up. A lot of the things on that big beautiful bill don't hit until 26 or 28. We're going to be in some shit, and it's going to be slow. It's going to be slow, but I think we're ass out going forward. I'm not positive on this administration at all, but either way, we'll see what happens. But I think we're shitty. On a good note, I'm racing this weekend, so Ty, I'll tell you how I do on Saturday. I hope you're excited about that, Ken. I hope you're excited about me racing this weekend. Hopefully, I do well.
As long as we have to talk about it, though. As long as we have to talk about it.
We're going to talk. We are going to talk about it.
Do your thing, Pete.
No more motorcycle cross.
Hey, look,
where's the race at?
That was 6 months worth. 6 months worth of motorcycle cross was today.
Hey man, we need a year's worth in one episode. Shoot, but it's gonna be up near Danville, outside of Danville. So, but either way, man, I appreciate you guys joining. These were great debates today. A lot of great viewpoints expressed. Some things I had never thought about. So we'll see when it comes to the NFC East. We'll see what happens when it comes to this big beautiful bill, which I think we're going to talk about on our next episode because that's that's really changed a lot of things. I think. Great, Rich. That was a great question you had about how do we impact and help educationally, socially in our communities. But I want to thank you guys again and looking forward to talking to you maybe a week or two.
Sounds good.
Have a good night,
fellas.
All right.
All right. We'll talk to y'all soon, man. All right. Later.